Whether you realize it or not, you've been making thousands of secret agreements ever since you were a child. These agreements form your beliefs on who you are, what you deserve, who you should hang out with, how you should behave. And most of them come from your parents, society, your teachers. They're not consciously developed by you. They're just handed down, and we take them as gospel. I was reading the comments, and somebody asked me, how can you take someone's opinion and not turn that into criticism? And it really reminded me of the book, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And that book really changed everything for me. I realized very early on that I had all these agreements about who I was as a person. I said I was the quiet kid. I was very unpopular. I had to be the nice guy. I had to never show anger. All these agreements that I never actually consciously made for myself. Like, these just developed as I was growing up over time from my parents, from society, from the TV shows I've watched. I've mentioned before, like seeing Zach Morris on TV, I thought I had to be popular or I was a nobody. So all these agreements just kind of form in your head that you don't even consciously determine. You just grow up with them, and if they resonate with you, you turn them into an agreement. And if they don't, you kind of just discard it. So everything that you've kind of been living your life by, if you're not aware of these agreements just taking place, then you might have just drifted into these thoughts without knowing it. So in this video, I thought I would break down what the 4 agreements, the book is, just a little summary of it, and how it kind of helped me out. I think it could help you guys out as well. I'll link in the description a full audio version of it on YouTube. I highly recommend listening to it. It's maybe 2 hours long. It's pretty short. It could change your life. It kind of gets you to rethink just how, I guess, unconsciously you just form these patterns of, I believe I am this way because of this. And it doesn't really, it's not something that you chose to believe in, and now that you know this, you can change your thinking. In the book, Don Miguel Ruiz mentions that if you live by these 4 agreements, you can kind of start reducing any of the other agreements you had in your life. These 4 are the main 4, and they take precedence over everything. So in this video, I'll go over those 4 agreements. The book starts off talking about how as children, we have really no control over what these agreements are that are forming. We try to resist it for a few years. He says that from the ages of 0 to 4 is when kids are really, truly free. They don't have any of these agreements. They're just being themselves. They're very present. They're very outgoing. I noticed this with my nephew from the ages of like 0 to 4. He'd just dance in the grocery store. He'd sing songs in the car. He didn't really worry about what people thought of him or that he had to have a certain behavior. He just was himself. But as he's getting older and as these frames are being put on him of what is good, what is bad, he starts to form these agreements. Because typically as kids, we want to go towards things that we feel are good, and we want to avoid things that would be bad. So for instance, if you're told that being loud is bad and being quiet is good, you want that acceptance, so you're going to be more quiet. And that just kind of develops over time. I think this is kind of what happened with me. I was always the quiet kid. I had these agreements that I just needed to keep to myself in order for people to like me. I couldn't show anger because if I showed anger, that would be bad, and then people wouldn't like me. This goes back to the Zach Morris thing, whereas I felt that I had to, if I wanted to be accepted, I had to be popular, and if I'm not popular, then I'm bad. And he just goes over the fact that we have no control over how these agreements are forming. And as kids, we don't even realize that we're doing it. You just assume that this is how life is. I'm just the quiet kid. I'm just the kid who has a couple friends. I'm the kid who doesn't have girls that like him. I'm the kid who's sort of smart but could never be successful. You just start forming these agreements without consciously doing it. You have no real control. So the book starts out just kind of displaying just how, I guess, I don't know if you want to say mind-controlled or brainwashed, but you just drifted through. You didn't realize it. You're just a kid. You had no control over it. And so he goes over the fact that if you follow 4 main agreements, you can start to release those other ones. So the first agreement is Be impeccable with your word. What he's basically saying is words are very powerful. The way that you speak to yourself, the way that you speak to others, has a tremendous effect on how you feel about yourself, how others people feel about you. Your word it's important. If you're talking to yourself in a negative way, you're going to feel negative about yourself. This applies to, getting out of the divorce. If you're talking to yourself as in, I'm such a loser, I can't believe she left me, I'll never find anybody again, you're just telling your brain unconsciously, subconsciously that, I am bad, I am not good. If you project that to other people, no one's gonna like somebody who talks bad about them, like other people. Like if you talk bad about me and I find out, like I'm not gonna appreciate that, I'm not probably gonna like you. So being impeccable with your word means, talking well about yourself, doing things that you say you're gonna do. If you tell somebody you're gonna do something, then you do it. Being impeccable with your word is one of the most important agreements because, it just determines your entire life. If you're talking very down to yourself, you're never gonna be able to succeed in the ways that you want to. I know for me, this was a major issue growing up. I always was telling myself I was too dumb, I was not good looking enough, I'm too old, I was a terrible husband, I'm too fat, I'm too blah, 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 blah. If you see what he's talking about, like the way that you talk to yourself is important. He also mentions that, we only put up with as much stuff from somebody as we would take from ourselves. So if you're, say, low self-esteem, low confidence, and you talk bad about yourself, and more than likely you will allow others to do that as well. You will let them talk down to you because you accept it, because you're telling yourself that I am this way, I deserve this. But if they ever cross a line that you would never say to yourself, that's when you would get upset, and that's probably when you would say something. So I thought that was interesting how true that was. Like I would take a lot from my ex. When she told me that I wish you were more like Rob Deerdick, I didn't get upset about that. It did kind of register in my head like, oh, that seems rude. But because I talk bad to myself like that, like I do say that I should be more social, or I wish I was more outgoing, or why am I such a loser because I can't talk to people? That was in line with what I was thinking to myself. So I didn't say anything to her. I just let her go on saying things like that throughout our marriage. And I didn't really realize just how impactful words were until I read this book. I knew deep down that I, probably shouldn't talk to myself that way, but I thought maybe it was motivating, or I thought like that's just what you do because that's what I deserved, I guess. So I deserve to be told that I'm not that good looking. I deserve to be told that I don't deserve to be successful. Everybody else can do it, but I'm just very average. And as you talk to yourself like this, I don't even like doing it now because then your brain just, I guess, kind of makes it true. So, the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. If you're talking bad about yourself now, recognize that. There's, rephrase it as in things that you can improve. You don't ever want to talk to yourself negatively. Your brain subconsciously recognizes that and it internalizes that stuff, and it's just never going to make you feel good about yourself. This was something that I definitely struggled with for a long time, calling myself ugly, saying I wasn't popular, saying I didn't deserve friends, saying that I can't speak up because I don't want to get rejected. I want people to like me. So it's important to be impeccable with your word. If you say you're going to do something as well, do it. People want to be around trustworthy people. They want to be around people that talk well about others. They don't want to be around people that speak negatively. So if you're talking negative about your ex, just know how that's a reflection on you, your mindsets. If you hear somebody say that, oh, my ex is a bitch and I wish her terrible things, people are going to wonder if you say that about them as well. They're also going to think that, maybe there's something that you aren't able to move past. I know it sucks. It's a terrible situation. But she made her choice. That's her decision. That doesn't mean she's a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that she's out to get you in any way. This leads into the second agreement. Don't take anything personally. Don't take anything personally. If I come up to you and tell you you look fat, that has nothing to do with you. That has to do with my own agreements. That's what I believe. And if you are offended by that, or if you believe that, then maybe you feel like there's some truth to that. Taking things personally is what he says is, it's like the ultimate form of selfishness, that you believe that everything is happening to you and that everybody is in line with your agreements. But people are just getting by on their own. They have their own, they have their own lifestyles. They have their own thoughts, their own beliefs. And so, you can't take anything personally. Just because they say something, if you don't actually believe that yourself, then there's nothing to worry about. Like I said, if I call you fat and you're not fat, then you would just ignore that belief. But if there was some truth in your mind, you would think that that's true. So I didn't take it personally when my wife left. I mean, I did at first, but now that I've learned these agreements, she made her own decisions. She made her own values. It wasn't against me. She did what she thought was best in her mind, what her agreements were, that this would be the best thing for her. And it's unfortunate. It sucked. I hate that it happened, but it was nothing personal. I didn't make me a bad person. It didn't make me, unworthy of love again. It was just that she made her decisions. She wanted to do what was best for her, and so we moved on. We split up. It ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me, so I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, people's opinions are their opinions. That's their agreements. You might not agree with, their thoughts, their feelings, and if you take that personally, you're taking in their poison. If they say that you're ugly and you believe that in some way, they're giving you a poison, and you're accepting that poison. So if you just take that as that's just their belief, that's just who they are as people, maybe recognize that you don't want to be around those people. That, you don't have to take it personally, but you don't have to be around that either. If that's the kind of person that they are, that's their agreements, that's their lifestyle, that's their beliefs. They can keep that. I don't need to be around it. And just kind of when someone gives you their opinion, look through it. Do you agree with this stuff? This helps with getting feedback from girls that you're dating. I've been told I'm pretty good at receiving feedback, and I think a lot of it is that I don't take things personally. If they're saying that they would like me to do this, or like I wish you would call me more, it's not a hit to my ego. It's not saying that I'm a bad boyfriend. It's that's their thoughts, their beliefs. They think that in their mind, this agreement is that he should call me more. And if I'm going to take that personally, then I'm going to feel that that's criticism. That's going to be hit at my ego. And I'm not going to want to probably maybe give my best effort. I'm probably going to maybe be upset about that because I don't want to be attacked. I don't want that criticism to come towards me. But if I just look at it objectively and see, okay, this is their thoughts. Their agreements are that they want me to call more. It's not personal. That's just their beliefs. Is that something that I'm agreeing with? Is that something that I'm willing to do? Okay, yeah, I could see why maybe she would want me to call more. Okay, I can do that. That is an agreement that I now accept. If she says that and I think that I call her enough, or maybe she's asking for too much of me, I don't know about this case of just calling you, but say that you feel like it's too much, then you can express your opinions, because you're not, I know for me, when I would get criticism, I would shut down. I would think that you're attacking me, that means I'm a bad person, I'm a bad husband. If you're saying that I don't do enough around the house, then you're attacking me. And that makes me not want to communicate, that makes me shut down. It doesn't make me want to be cooperative. So that was my agreement, is that if you're criticizing me, then I shut down, and I don't want to contribute. I don't want to collaborate. But when I stopped taking things personally, I started to reframe it as, okay, you say I'm not, for instance, the housework. Okay, you're saying that I'm not doing enough housework. Let me look at that and make a decision on it rather than just reacting to it. Am I doing enough housework? I think I am doing enough housework. Here is why. I understand that this is your belief. I don't take it personally that these are your thoughts, but this is my beliefs. And then when you do that, you can calmly and rationally say that this is how I believe it to be, excuse me. And you can either accept that or you can't, but these are my beliefs. I'm not taking this personally. I'm acting very calm and rational. And if you do agree with it, you make some changes. Okay, I do agree that I probably could play less video games. I do agree that I could probably, come home from the gym a little early and get something done, whatever the case is. The whole point is you're not taking it personally. You don't take criticism. You don't take opinions as criticism. These are just their beliefs. This is what they've been growing up with. They might have been told at a very young age from their parents or their teachers that, boyfriends are supposed to bring flowers and they're supposed to call every day, twice a day. And if that's their agreement, that's what they're going to believe, and that's going to be their opinion. So you can't take that personally. You don't know that that's how they grew up. You don't know that that's their agreements. They're going to be way different than yours. And when you get to that point where you're not worried, you're not taking it personally, you can calmly, rationally say, I see your point. I look at it this way, and then maybe come to a different agreement. But that's the second agreement. Don't take things personally. You don't know what other people's agreements are. Like I said, also, if you're taking that, say if she says you're a bad boyfriend because you don't call, and you're hurt by that, maybe you feel there's some truth to that. Maybe you do believe that maybe you should call more, or like the instance for if I called you fat, that's more about me than you. Like if I don't know you, and I just come up and call you fat, and you think there's some truth to it, you're going to get offended and you're going to be upset, and you're probably not going to like me, which goes to why I would need to be impeccable with my word, because I would hope you would never say that to somebody. But you would be accepting that poison if you got upset by me calling you fat. You're accepting that poison. This is an issue with me. This isn't about you. So yeah, that's the second agreement. Don't take anything personal. Like I said, this book, this is just the first two agreements. This book changed my life. I love this book, so I'll give you the next two, but definitely listen to the entire book because it just does such a much better job of explaining everything. The third agreement is do not make assumptions. When you make assumptions, that leads to misunderstandings. Misunderstandings lead to arguments, to hurt feelings, and then you start taking things personally. If you look back, he mentions in the book, if you look back to a lot of problems in relationships, it can come down to making assumptions and then taking things personally. I would do this throughout our marriage. I would assume that because I went to the grocery store, I went to the art fair, that I would be rewarded in some way with affection or praise. This was my assumption. I assumed that because I did this, she would do that. That goes into the nice guy covert contract behavior, where if I do this, I expect you to do that. But it's also this agreement as well. I was expecting her to reward me. I was making assumptions that if I behave this way, I will get rewarded this way. I didn't explicitly say anything about that. And it's my fault for making that assumption. I wanted to go to the art fair with her. That's what I did. I didn't need to make an assumption that I would be rewarded for it or I would get something out of that. And, making assumptions, you don't actually know what's going to happen. And if you're not expressing your needs, they're not going to be met. You can't just assume that somebody knows what you want. This is the same with like your job. You can't assume that just because you've been working hard, your boss knows that you want a raise. You can't, and then if you don't get that raise, you take that personally. Your wife, she doesn't know that you want to go away for the weekend. You can't just assume that she should know that because it's your birthday, you want to do this thing. It just really gets into the fact that when you make assumptions, it's going to lead to misunderstandings. It's going to lead to arguments, or it's just not going to lead to quality outcomes. So the third agreement is don't make assumptions. He goes into this really well, just talking about how, there's no way you can predict what somebody's going to do. They they don't know what's going on in your head. You don't know what's going on in their head. They have different agreements than you do. So if you make assumptions, you're just going to lead to misunderstandings. So that's the third one. The fourth agreement is always do your best. By doing your best, you're going to ingrain the first three agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. When you're doing your best, I mean, this is going to change from day to day. You know, sometimes your best when you're refreshed and you're got a good night's sleep is going to be better than days where you didn't maybe sleep that well, you're kind of groggy, you just don't feel that great, maybe you're sick that day. So your best is going to alternate depending on the day, the time of the day, the what's been going on throughout the day. But when you don't give your best, that's going to affect your self-esteem. You're going to feel guilty because you know you could do better. This is something that I struggle with. Definitely growing up, like I never felt like I could try my best. In school, I would just get by. I never thought that I could be successful, so I didn't really try. I just did basically the bare minimum up until I was in college. Same with my relationship. I never really felt like I was doing my best. I kind of just coasted, felt like I made it. I got my wife. I'm in Wisconsin now. This is our life. I don't have to do my best. And it wasn't really until, I started my own business. And even then, there's still issues where I'm not giving my best. I can still get distracted. So this is always just a work in progress. But like listening to these four agreements, I understand just how, if I lived by these four, my whole world would change. Be impeccable with my word. Tell myself positive things. Don't talk bad about myself. Don't talk bad about others. Do the things that I say that I'll do. This goes back to like setting goals and stuff. If you say you're gonna, you want to exercise 4 days this week, that's you being impeccable with your word. That's you trying your best. I said I'm gonna do this, so I'm gonna ingrain being impeccable with my word by trying my best. I will get this 4 days done, and if not, I will ask myself why, and I will make adjustments. Don't take anything personally. I'm now able to take feedback from girls. If they say that I'm not doing enough around the house, or if I'm, being a bad boyfriend, or whatever the case is, you're being a bad father, don't take that personally. That's their agreement. I'm doing my best. I know that I am being a good father. I know that I am trying my best to be a good boyfriend. I know that I am trying my best to give you what you need without expensing myself. And that, that starts to ingrain. Number two, don't take anything personally. I am trying my best by not making assumptions. I don't want to assume that you know what I want, that you know what my needs are. So I'm doing my best by telling you exactly what my needs are. I am putting myself out there. I'm learning to express my feelings. I'm learning to be more vulnerable, whatever the case may be. This is how always doing your best is ingraining those first three agreements. If you can really live by those three agreements, or I guess four agreements, it kind of dissipates the other ones. I had those agreements where I couldn't socialize because I was the quiet kid, or I would never be popular because I was not good looking enough, or I just didn't have enough designer clothes, like I didn't have Nike shoes. But when I'm doing my best, and I'm not taking things personal, like it's not personal if they think I'm a dork because I don't have Nike shoes, like that's their problem. That has nothing to do with me. So if I can drop that, that takes care of a lot of those agreements. If I can stop making assumptions that if I do get these clothes, then I assume that I'll be cool. And if I do, for me, I started smoking weed because I assumed that means I would be popular and I would start getting girls to like me because I was different. Whereas if I was just trying my best, as in I'm just trying to be a better version of myself, I'm trying to improve, I'm trying to learn as much as possible, I'm trying to be successful, I would have been able to drop those agreements of I have to be drunk to meet people or to be myself, or I have to get high to make new friends. It really just goes to, after reading this book, it really just ingrained in me that these four agreements do basically take care of everything. I didn't realize just how many of these secret agreements I had been forming over the years, throughout my entire life. Even still, like if you're not aware of it, they still come up out of nowhere. I have these agreements that I can't go approach somebody in the store because they look busy. But maybe that's not the case. Like I'm just doing my best. I'm doing my best to become more social, to just give value to people, to be friendly. And that's going to ingrain, like, don't take anything personally. If she's not receptive to being talked to that day, that's something with her. That has nothing to do with me. If your ex is angry and she sends you a nasty text message or tells you she hates you for the last 5 years, that sucks. That's unfortunate. But that is on her. Those are her values. That's her agreements. That does not reflect on you. If you take that, if you accept that, then you're taking her poison. And maybe you feel that there is some truth to that. But if you can start learning these 4 agreements, don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Be impeccable with your word. And always do your best. I think these would really help, anybody out. I recommend definitely reading this book. Leave me a message in the comments. Is this all new to you? Have you heard this before? Have you read this book? Has it had a big impact on you as well? I know for me, it had a tremendous impact. I listen to this book probably 4 or 5 times a year. It's like a 2-hour read or audio book. So it's definitely, it just kind of opens up your eyes to what you've been telling yourself over the years. He basically calls it a living hell. Like, hell is being at the justification of other people. Like, you're worried about what they think of you. You're worried about their rejections. You're not able to try your best. You're not being impeccable with your word. So you're telling yourself you're not doing things that are, you're not doing a good enough job, or people don't like you, or you're talking bad about other people, which just makes them not like you. There's a lot to it, but I thought it was a fantastic book. I will leave it there. The book, Don Miguel does a lot better job of going over it than I can. These are just some of my experiences with it. Like I said, I saw that comment about taking opinions and not turning it into criticism, which reminded me a lot of this book. And it used to be a big issue that I had. I would take everything very personal. It was, I think it's more of an ego attack. Like, how dare you? Why would you say that? Like, I don't want to be, if you have your opinion and that's criticism, then you don't like me, and then I get defensive. So that's what that reminded me of. But this book helped me a lot with that stuff. I feel like it's really improved my relationships going forward. Like I said, I don't like to make assumptions. I don't take things personally. That's on them. If they want to, whatever happens, it's not towards me. It's their beliefs, their values, whatever. So I will leave it there. It is Wednesday, feeling good today. Got a new shirt, went out and kind of addressed my style a little bit, trying to just make some improvements. I realized, you do look good, you feel good. I noticed it today when I was walking around Minneapolis. I noticed more people were smiling at me. Like, I just look, I guess, like a better version of myself. I stand out a little bit because most people are just getting by, coasting. I noticed it yesterday when I was at the mall. I had my boots on and my jeans, which looked pretty good. But because it was raining, I was wearing my Blink 182 sweatshirt. And then, now I just kind of look homeless at the mall while I'm with my friend. And then it's like, okay, well, now I don't feel good about myself. Now I'm thinking about, I'm not actually doing my best. I know I could dress better. I know I could present myself in a better way. Now I ended up having to take a shower, and then I didn't have time to comb my hair, so now I'm worried about on the video, like, okay, now I'm not presenting myself in the best way. Maybe people in the comments will tell me that my hairline is not good enough or that I'm too old, which I see that a lot, and I don't take that personally. That's their belief. I don't have those assumptions. I know how old I am. I know who I am as a person, or at least I like to keep trying and figuring that out. And I don't know who these people are. I'm not going to take their poison. I'm going to just keep doing the best that I can. I want to keep making these videos. I want them to be better and better. Sometimes it's difficult. Like today, I didn't get a lot of sleep. I didn't really, it's difficult for me to go over books that, I didn't write. Like there's a lot of interesting subjects in there, and I want to present it the best way possible. So you get in your head a little bit of, is this good enough? Is this going to be perfect? And at some point, you just got to film it, do your very best. So that's what I'm hoping to do. Hopefully this resonates with you. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. I'm going to jump on the group coaching call tonight. That's going to be on Wednesdays every week. If you guys want to join the group, we'll just start doing weekly calls, get an idea of where people are at, what their goals are. It'll be for accountability. I want to help people stay accountable. This is something that has been very important to me. I do masterminds with my friends so that we make sure we're staying on track with our goals. We can get visions together, talking with people who have been in your situation, who can hold you accountable to your goals, to make sure you're improving. It's just going to speed up your development. It's going to make sure that you, in the back of your mind, you know, if I don't do this, someone's going to call me out on it. Do I want to answer this? And then people are going to point out, are you doing your best? And you have to answer that honestly. Am I doing my best? Probably not, because I know I could have done more, or whatever. So every Wednesday, we're going to do those coaching calls through school. So join that group. Follow me on Instagram. I've been posting there. I've got to post more consistently, just throughout my day, what I'm doing, what I'm up to, trying to deliver value throughout the day, so you can see my lifestyle. Just because where I came from was very different than where I am. If you had known me 10 years ago, I was very out of shape, overweight, would not socialize, would not have expressed myself, would never have made a fucking video like this, would never have told anybody any of this stuff. I was very ashamed of where I came from, who I was as a person, the things I've gone through, my thoughts, my feelings. So I'm just trying to improve, get better every day. And it's a great way to connect with me as well. So hopefully that helps you guys. I will see you tomorrow.